back to A Talk in Depth. Today I'm going to be talking about the newest film, Baywatch. Well, I don't really know if it's even new. It came out like 2 weeks ago. But I watched it today, and I just needed to talk about it. Basically, to sum it up really quickly so I can start talking about the movie Baywatch, Baywatch, the TV show, was a show that ran for I think 11 years, and it literally started in 1989 and went to 2001. And basically the plot is it's lifeguards on a beach. And so it's interesting because how could they take that plot and make it into a show that ran for 11 years? I don't know. I've actually never seen the show myself. I mean, I've seen clips from it because, they watched it on Friends. Chandler and Joey loved it, so that's the only part I've seen. I've never seen the TV show, though. So when I heard they were making a movie version of Baywatch, I was interested because I thought to myself, I mean, this was before I knew The Rock and Zac Efron were going to star in it, but I was like, oh, are they going to bring back the old cast, make it like Wet Hot American Summer, the TV show or whatever, make it like that? Clearly it wasn't because, it has a completely different cast. But let's talk about the movie now. So basically, the plot of the movie is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, plays a guy named Mitch, and he's the head lifeguard on the beach, Baywatch, and he has other people on his team. I'm totally blanking on their names, but I don't remember what the name of the blonde lady is, but she's a main character. She's one of the lead people, and then there's another woman. I'm totally blanking on her name too, but yeah, she's one of the lead people as well. And so they're having tryouts for who can join the Baywatch team now, because Baywatch is the elite of the elite. It's very prestigious and it's hard to get into. And so they have the tryouts, and basically there are 3 people that get in. I'm totally going to pronounce her name wrong, but I think it's Alexandria Daddario. I think that's how you pronounce it. Zac Efron, and some other guy whose name I do not know, but he's the comic relief guy in the movie, and he's interesting, and I'll get to him in a second. But yeah, those 3 make the team with Dwayne Johnson and the other 2 girls, and now we have our movie. And to be completely honest, it wasn't really a good movie. I really had high hopes for this movie. When I saw the first trailer back in December when it came out, I actually thought this looked really good, and I was really excited for it. But then more and more the trailers started rolling out, and I just got really worried. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these Fast and Furious type movies where they have, the weird music, the weird party music, and that's really what it was. And I don't know. I mean, in the first trailer, they had Biggie Smalls playing, and that's the song they had, Hypnotize, is a great song. And so I was like, oh, it's going to be this kind of movie, good and hip, kind of maybe going back old school a little bit. But then the other trailers came out, and I was like, oh, all right. I mean, I'm not surprised it's going to be this kind of movie, but it really was. It was just kind of, I wouldn't say dull, but just the same thing we've seen before from, these kind of actors. Now, I'm not saying the actors were bad in this movie, because they were all mediocre, let's just say that. All the characters in this movie, none of them were great. They were all just mediocre. They could have been better, but they really weren't. And I love The Rock. I think, he's a great actor. He seems like he's one of the nicest guys in the world. And so I feel like he could do better. And Zac Efron, I like Zac Efron. I know a lot of people that don't really like Zac Efron because they're like, oh, he's just someone that's overused a lot as, the pretty boy. And it doesn't really seem, he kind of got pigeonholed as the stupid pretty boy. We saw Neighbors. We saw Neighbors 2. We saw, what's that one where he's the DJ? We saw Dirty Grandpa. We saw Mike and Dave Need Wedding Date. So how many movies can they have where Zac Efron's kind of, the stupid pretty boy? And that's really what they did in Baywatch. They just pigeonholed him, and it just wasn't good because they made his character seem stupid in the movie. And it was kind of weird because I'm like, really? I mean, you could give Zac Efron a brain at least. You give him the body, just give him a brain. It was honestly hilarious at how stupid they make Zac Efron, because there's one scene where Zac Efron's character and the comic relief character are sitting in a computer room, and the comic relief character is a guy that's really good with technology and hacking and stuff, and so he's trying to hack into the firewalls or whatever to get some information, and Zac Efron starts talking about hacking or whatever, and it's just it makes no sense, and that's the point. The joke the joke makes no sense. But just the way it was written was just so stupid. And I was just like, oh my God, are you really trying to do this? And it just wasn't funny. I mean, it was funny at how stupid it was. So yeah, I didn't really much care for Zac Efron's character in this movie. I thought they finally pigeonholed Zac Efron as just, the dumb, stupid, pretty boy who, gets all the eyes from the ladies, but, when it comes to actually working, he's just stupid. But in the end, he always finds a way to make it work out. I will say there was one scene I liked with Zac Efron, and that was the scene where he's doing an obstacle course, but that scene was literally 30 seconds long. I mean, if you saw the set photos, where he's standing by what looks like it's something from the X Games or whatever, it looks cool, but in the movie it's literally only 30 seconds long. And I was just like, oh, okay. You mean I've been waiting a whole year to see that one scene because it looked, pretty badass, but now it's just 30 seconds? All right, cool. But yeah, that was really it with Zac Efron. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. That's really all I have to say about the characters. I mean, okay, I did say I talked about the comic relief guy. Basically, his name was Ronnie, and he was really fun. I mean, I wouldn't say he was really funny, but he was the character that stood out the most, I think, because all the other characters were, just bland. And this character, he brought a sense of humor to the movie that no one else really brought, and so I liked him the most, because he's the character that I probably would be if the plot was actually real. The plot itself, it was not that good, really. I mean, it's just what you expected it to be. Kind of, something that looked cool, but then it was just boring, and, it really wasn't good. I mean, I don't know. The plot had some interesting elements to it, but really, to sum it up, like I said, they become part of the team, and then some woman is kind of like a drug dealer, I guess, and they have to go investigate it. That's really the whole plot. And, I don't know how they made it into almost a whole 2-hour movie. I don't know. It just wasn't interesting, really. And I wanted it to be, but it wasn't. One of the things I liked in this movie was the music. I mean, okay, not all the music. There were some songs that were pretty good. And it was good to listen to some of those for, the couple seconds they were in the movie. But yeah, I liked some of the music in it. One of the things I noticed, and I was even talking with my family about this when the film came out a couple weeks ago when we were debating whether or not to go see it. My mom said, it looks interesting, but it's one of those movies probably where the writers had a book of jokes, cheesiest jokes ever, and they were literally, while they were writing it, flipping through the pages, and they were like, oh, we can put, this fart joke right there, and we can put, this wiener joke right there, and that's really what they did. There's one scene that just, it was just you don't need that scene, and it's where they're examining a dead guy, and it was just okay, we didn't really need that scene. It wasn't funny, and it wasn't original. I don't know. That scene I really didn't like, and it just made me think back to what my mom said. They were just flipping through the joke book, and they were like, oh, we can take this joke and put it there, and that's really what they did with almost every single joke in the movie. There were some jokes that worked, and there were some that didn't. I think this movie was definitely a huge disappointment because they had a cool idea to make a Baywatch movie off the TV show, and I just think it was kind of ruined a little bit. And it sounds like they're making a sequel or something. A sequel might have been greenlit or it's in talks, I don't know. But I don't really want a sequel. I don't think this movie deserves a sequel. It sucks that Baywatch wasn't good, but sometimes, not every movie can be great. I think if I'm going to rate Baywatch anything, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. I don't know. It was a huge disappointment, everyone. I wouldn't say go see this movie unless, you plan on getting totally wasted while seeing it. It's not good. It's boring, it's not funny, and it's just every character and it's bland except for that one comic relief guy. All the actors are just annoying in it, and it wasn't fun to watch. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you liked what you've seen here, go like, comment, and subscribe. That would be super helpful, and I would really appreciate it. The links to all of my social media pages are down below in the description. Go follow them. Other than that, this has been A Talk in Depth.